I'm going to tell you the story that made me start working out consistently while the world was literally shut down more than 4 years ago. And it was thanks to this little thing right here, and it's resistance bands. I was in this moment in my life where I wanted to change physically and personally, also emotionally, and I just was tired of looking the same, of course, and just being the same, and I started to work out consistently in the comfort of my own home. And so thanks to some of the best fitness experts YouTube has, I bought a full 5-day program. It was very similar with exercises like on the gym, but with a resistance band, and of course with bodyweight exercises as well using the resistance band. And it has so many options that I progressively overload with more and more resistance by implementing some techniques I will be showing you also in this video. And so this was the foundation of the biggest changes in my life to date. And so I wanted to show you an alternate way to work out because of the other reasons in your life outside of your fitness, right? Because you may are hustling in a high demanding job or even in your own small business, which takes a lot of time. So we will go of what are resistance bands in this video, what it differentiates them from gym equipment like barbells and dumbbells and even some machines as well, the underrated similarity it has with cable exercises, as well as how to use them in and outside of the gym, right? Because yes, we can work out with resistance bands outside of the gym, but we can also implement some great techniques I'm going to show you later in the video, so stay tuned. Now, before starting to tell you what are these awesome tools for working out anywhere, yes, including the comfort of your own home, we need to make sense of what is mechanical tension, a very important fundamental of building muscle. As usual, when I started to work out, I work out like most people you see at the gym. Don't know this fundamental of mechanical tension the correct way, and so I did build my newbie gains, but I got hurt here and there by not doing the correct thing and not focusing on slow eccentrics and just doing it too fast and just lifting heavy weight instead of targeting the muscles. But this term is a term for which the muscle fibers elongate under some tension, which the longer it's elongated, the more force will the muscle need to move to the concentric part of the movement of right? And this is why in back exercises, for example, it takes more effort to lift the weight once your back muscles are as mostly stretched as possible. So this term also counts for every single muscle in your body, because if you know how to master mechanical tension, and time under tension as well will be the most optimal way for you to build muscle. So the longer the muscle is stretched, and of course the longer the time under tension the muscle is, the higher the probability you will work harder and grow more muscle, right? Now that you know this, now if I explain that correctly, what does this have to do with resistance band and resistance band exercises? Well, it has to do some things, because first of all, we're very similar. As if you notice, again, I'm grabbing this resistance band, the harder it is to stretch than our my grip is. So you can see, because it takes more force try to bend it when it's more solid, but when I take it out it's way more. But as you can see, this resistance band is gonna start producing a counterweight than when I just release it. Oh, I'm gonna do that again. When I release it, it's gonna produce a force that accelerates. That's basic force equation, force equals mass times acceleration. You can see that a lot with resistance bands. So I think this is a great option to include in your workouts to add some resistance, but stay tuned for that later in the video. So resistance bands come in different resistances, or some companies, as you can see in Amazon, they rate it in a weight range, which they try to mimic as it was on cable exercises, which I'm gonna also explain that later. But the mechanics of resistance bands, even similar, have some differences, which we will come to that later in the video, as outlined of course. But for this awesome tool, you can buy a set depending on what exercises you will focus on, as well as other shorter ones, as you can check down below in the description, the ones I use personally. But resistance bands are mostly made out of rubber, and some of them include some additional attachments that you can implement to different areas in your home to target different muscles. Like this attachment that you can put close on the door So this way the door actually has some resistance and just hangs on from the door, so you can make mostly back exercises and other tricep exercises mimicking cable exercises. Now, if you know the biomechanics of an exercise you do with barbells and dumbbells and machines and cables, it can probably be done with resistance bands in a similar fashion, right? And even add it to those exercises in the gym, which again, we'll cover that later in the video. Now, what makes resistance bands different from dumbbells and barbells, as you may ask? Well, there's a lot of different things and different similarities. First of all, dumbbells and barbells mostly give the most tension at the eccentric or concentric part of an exercise, like in the dumbbell rows, for example. The most tension is when you stretch completely your back muscles, as well as with the chest. The lower the barbell or the dumbbell lowers, the higher the tension will be. That's why you feel mostly the stimulus with the stretch of the back. Now, the cool thing of resistance band is the continuous tension it brings during the whole exercise, as even in the contracted part of the resistance band row, for example, you even feel the tension from the counter force produced by the resistance band, making you work harder and stimulating your muscles in a higher tension rate. And another great thing about resistance bands is that they are very flexible and travel friendly. Yeah, flexible, I think that's a pun intended. Let's say you had overtime and was your push day today. So you have two of these options. Number one is bring your resistance band to work, which is not recommended. Or even better, do it with some of this in the comfort on your own home. And that is why even for traveling is a great way to give some high stimulus to your muscles no matter where you go, even if there is no gym available. This is the best resort you will have, as they are also light and compact. Going to the other side of the spectrum, what is the similarities it has with cable machine exercises? Well, it has a lot of similarities, and one of that we compare it is the resistance it has similar to the cable machines, because comparing both ways with the lateral pull down exercises, we can see that even if the form of both exercises differ, we can observe how these two exercises can have the same type of resistance if counted the same amount of counter force produced. Then we can have the same amount of muscle stimulus, of course, if we train in the same intensity as when we are working out in the gym. So this means closer to failure, or an RP between 8 and 10. And so that's why resistance bands is one of the best tools there for those who don't have the time to commute to the gym. But now, actually, do have the time to go work out at the gym. Well, I'll also show you 3 exercises that most of us do that we can also add some difficulty, not with adding weights, not with adding sets, reps, or even volume, but resistance, and the one of the bands we have mentioned during this video. And so let's see how we can use this. The first exercise can be the leg press, as most of us we can further progress in weight, but the problem with that is that the heavier the exercise, we tend to compensate when we don't make this exercise in the correct form. And so a good substitute of progress instead of weight is by attaching the resistance band in one of the plate holders, and the other side attached to the handles of this leg press machine. And depending which one you can put, you can add even 100 pounds of invisible resistance due to the counterweight it will produce once you start doing this exercise. Another second grade exercise that you can add resistance band is any exercise in the Smith machine, because as you notice, most of the Smith machine exercises of all of them are from up and down, so it's mostly on the sagittal plane of the human anatomy plane. Then if we add a resistance band to the holder bar, attaching the other side of the band to the base of the machine, then you can also make it way more harder. Just don't forget to hurt yourself, please, while doing that. And lastly, the last exercise is trying to add it to some chest exercises like the chest fly, by surrounding the resistance band around your body and at the same time doing the exercise with the resistance band. You may have some looks in the gym, but if it's for building muscle, I'll do that as well. Because if you're struggling with adding weight, I think a resistance band is another great way to progress. But as you can see, These little rubber bands can make a huge improvement to the amount of work you produce to gain more muscle, and even some strength as well. So if you have one of these in your gym equipment collection, make sure to take care of them, don't break them, don't stretch them too much, and maximize using them with the tips and hacks I show you in this video. Lastly, if you want detailed training specified just to you, check out my personal training below, as well as my latest video right here. See y'all in the next video.